Welcome to Academic Gurus Tutoring Thursday, where we answer all of your high school, college, and university questions. If you would like your question to be featured on next week's Tutoring Thursday, please submit your questions to questions@academicgurusinc.com. Don't forget to subscribe so you can stay current with all of our new videos. Today's question was posed by Manny Rodriguez 880812, and the question reads, a rectangle has an area of 36 square feet. The width is 5 feet less than the length. What is the length of the rectangle? The best way to solve this question is to break the question down in terms of the clues that you've been given. We are told that the rectangle has an area of 36 square feet, and we've been told that the width is 5 feet less than the length. So let's start by defining the area of a rectangle. In order to calculate the area of a rectangle, you multiply the length of the rectangle by the width of the rectangle. If we define the width as W and the length as L, we know from the question then that L times W is equal to 36. The second part of the problem tells us that the width is 5 feet less than the length. Therefore, we can write that W is equal to L minus 5. Now we've managed to define the area of the rectangle as well as the width of the rectangle. However, the question is asking us, what is the length of the rectangle? So somehow we have to create an equation that is defined in terms of the length of the rectangle only. So let's start by defining the area of the rectangle in terms of the length. This way we can get rid of the width and focus only on the length. So again, let's start by defining the area of the rectangle, which is length times width, which is equal to 36. Since we know that W is equal to L minus 5, or length minus 5, we can substitute this equation for W. That is, L times W equals 36 can now be rewritten as L times L minus 5 equals 36. So nothing has changed. We have simply substituted W for L minus 5. After multiplying this equation through, we find that L squared minus 5L equals 36. If we bring the 36 over to the left side of the equation by subtracting it from both sides, we find that L squared minus 5L minus 36 equals 0. So we can see that this is a quadratic equation, and we can use the factoring method to determine what the length is. So just as a quick review of the factoring method, what you want to do is to take the coefficient of L squared, which is simply 1, and the constant negative 36. The product of these two numbers equals negative 36. Now, the goal is to find two numbers such that when you multiply them together, they equal negative 36. And when you add them together, they equal negative 5. So we can take negative 9 and 4, for example, and if we add them together, we find that the sum is equal to negative 5. If we multiply negative 9 and 4, we find that the product is equal to negative 36. So this satisfies our condition. Therefore, we can use negative 9 and 4 to factor this equation and solve for our length. That is, L minus 9 multiplied by L plus 4 should be equal to 0. During an exam, you may want to multiply this out just to reassure yourself that it does equal L squared minus 5L minus 36 equals 0. Once you're sure that this factored equation equals our original quadratic equation, then you can be sure then that L is equal to either 9 or -4. However, since the length cannot be a negative number, the length of the rectangle must be 9 feet. Again, during an exam, you should always test your answer to make sure that your results satisfy your original condition. In our case, we said that the width is equal to the length minus 5, which equals 4, and given that our length is equal to 9, our area, which we defined as length times width earlier, equals the product of 9 times 4, which equals 36. So there you are, Manny Rodriguez 880812. The length of the rectangle, 9 feet. We hope you found this helpful. Thank you for tuning into our Tutoring Thursday channel. If you enjoyed watching this video and found it helpful, please give us a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe. We would love to hear from you. Until next week's Tutoring Thursday, happy studying.